4 days after U.S. Navy SEALs ended the decade-long American hunt for Osama bin Laden, President Obama today came to New York City to commemorate those who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. At 9:40 a.m. Eastern Time, the president left the White House, boarding Marine One for the short flight to Andrews Air Force Base. 10 minutes later, he boarded Air Force One for a 50-minute flight to John F. Kennedy Airport in Queens, New York. At a remote corner of the airport, President Obama left Air Force One. He took a few moments there to greet the Port Authority and airport employees who had gathered to greet him upon his arrival. Then, after another short helicopter ride, President Obama arrived in downtown Manhattan. This was just after 11 a.m. today. Former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani was on the tarmac in Lower Manhattan to greet the president. They drove together from the helipad, which is near Wall Street, up to the Pride of Midtown Firehouse, which is on 48th Street and 8th Avenue. They arrived at 11:23 Eastern Time in time to enjoy a firehouse-cooked lunch. But before that, President Obama and Mayor Giuliani together greeted the assembled firefighters and thanked them for their service. Then the president told the firefighters there why he had made the trip.
I wanted to just come up here to thank you. This is a symbolic sight of the extraordinary sacrifice that was made on that terrible day almost 10 years ago. What happened on Sunday, because of the courage of our military and the outstanding work of our intelligence, sent a message around the world, but also sent a message here back home that when we say we will never forget, we mean what we say. I just want to let you know that you're always going to have a president and an administration who's got your back the way you've got the backs of the people of New York over these last many years. So God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And with that, I'm going to try some of that food. All right? I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Lunch was an off-camera event, but the firefighters at that firehouse later described the lunch to the press. They were very happy about it.
We had a great conversation, a little bit of Mets, a little bit of Yankees, a little bit of White Sox, a little bit of Cubs, and we think the president generally enjoyed his visit to the firehouse. Again, we're extremely appreciative that he was able to join us today for lunch.
He loved the shrimp, he loved the grill, the eggplant parmesan. He was a really down-to-earth guy. He sat down, like the chief said. Everything was formal. We were just like hanging out with the rest of the guys in the firehouse. We thank him for what he did on Sunday, and all the troops and all. We want to let them know that we're with them, every step of the way. And God bless them, thank them. I mean, if it wasn't for them, we'd still be chasing this guy.
One of the more poignant moments at the Pride of Midtown Firehouse came as the president stopped at a wall commemorating the firehouse's 15 firefighters who lost their lives on September 11th. That firehouse that day lost the entire shift, the entire battalion.
We lost the whole battalion. Everybody working the 9th Battalion in this firehouse, another firehouse 40 and 35, and Engine 23. Everybody that responded to the World Trade Center, nobody took over. So it's a whole battalion.
At 12:14 p.m., the president left that fire station, traveling from Midtown back downtown to Tribeca to the 1st Police Precinct Station House. They were the first station to respond on 9/11. The president drove past Ground Zero in order to get to that precinct. The president arrived at the station house at 12:35 p.m. and greeted police officers, including New York's police commissioner Raymond Kelly, before he spoke to the assembled officers. All of whom were at Ground Zero on 9/11.
I'm not here to make a long speech. I'm here basically to shake your hand and just to say how proud I am of all of you. What we did on Sunday is directly connected to what you do every single day. And I know I speak for the military teams and the intelligence teams that helped us get bin Laden in saying that we know the sacrifices and the courage that you show as well, and that you are part of the team that helped us achieve our goal, but also help us keep our citizens safe each and every day. I very much appreciate the fact that Mayor Giuliani is here because obviously we remember his leadership and courage on that day as well. And it's a testimony that we may have our differences politically in ordinary times, but when it comes to keeping this country safe, we are first and foremost Americans. So, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Afterwards, the president took time to take photos with some of those officers at the 1st Police Precinct Station House. He then headed to the World Trade Center site itself. The president arriving there just before 1 p.m. Eastern Time, greeting the long honor guard of New York City police officers, firefighters, and Port Authority officers who lined the ceremony. Then, with 3 members representing each department, the president walked with a wreath to what they call the survivor tree. The survivor tree is a pear tree that survived the attacks. It was then nursed back to health and replanted at Ground Zero. After the short ceremony, President Obama met with family members of people who died on 9/11. He embraced Diane Wall as her 14-year-old and 12-year-old daughters and their friend looked on. The president also embraced Victoria Giordano. Her father was a New York City firefighter who died in the 9/11 attacks when she was just 11 years old. And President Obama also got a fist bump from 10-year-old Christopher Cannizzaro as his mother, Jackie Cannizzaro Harkins, looked on. Christopher's father, Brian Cannizzaro, was a New York City firefighter who died in the 9/11 attacks when Christopher was 10 months old. Today, Christopher told the New York Times about meeting the president. He said, quote, "He was asking me about my dad. He asked about my necklace." Christopher's necklace has a picture of his dad in his firefighter gear. He said he was just being so nice to me. He was being open with me. I was just truly honored to be here. A very mature kid. President Obama spent some time behind closed doors as well today, meeting with approximately 60 family members. They met at the site where you can preview what the 9/11 memorial will look like when it opens this September on the 10th anniversary of the attacks. At 2:20 p.m., the president left Ground Zero. He headed back to the heliport and then back to JFK, then back to Andrews Air Force Base an hour later before finally arriving back at the White House at 4:12 p.m. Tomorrow, President Obama will head out again to Fort Campbell in Kentucky. At Fort Campbell, he will get to meet and privately thank members of the elite Navy SEAL team that killed Osama bin Laden on Sunday. The president has already met with and thanked their boss, Admiral McRaven. Admiral McRaven ran the operation on Sunday night. The magnitude of Osama bin Laden's killing by U.S. forces in Pakistan on Sunday night is hard to yet quantify in terms of its impact on our country. One early way to measure it this Thursday is the time and attention the American president spent recognizing and remembering the crime that provoked Sunday night's punishment. That was today in New York City.